Hi everyone, just another update on the layout, and I started to work over in the engine shed area. So as you can see, the shed is removed, and what I've been doing is soldering in these yellow cables here, and they're to bridge the isolation gaps that I've cut into the rail. So I've got a few more to do, and they're just little lengths of yellow cable. I use yellow for the isolating sections, so that when I'm under the board, I know what they're for, because there's going to be a massive wiring under there. So that's coming along. I've got to finish that off. I'll probably finish that off in a week, and then I can put the cinder ballast in there and paint the ends of the cables black so that they blend in, and then I'll put the shed back on the top. But before I do that, I'm going to be putting in the light sensors. So here's one here. They're just little light sensors that go in the track, and what that's for is down here. So down here, for example, I'll cut some sleepers away and put one in here and here, and then one here and here. So in each section, towards the end of that section, there'll be one of those light sensors, and then in the middle there'll just be a light sensor on its own, and that's the one on its own is called the reference sensor. And what happens there is when the shed's on the top, I won't be able to see what's in there. So those wire up to this little board here, and this is by block signalling. And what happens here is when a train goes over the top of one of these sensors, the ambient light dims in comparison to the reference sensor that's in the middle, and that then through this board turns an LED red. So it's green when there's nothing in there, nothing over the top of it, and then it goes red on the control panel when a train's over the top, so I can then tell what's occupied, what section in here is occupied by a loco, so I don't try and roll another one in behind it and cause a collision. So I can roll a loco in to the end section, change the isolating switch here, so that's then isolated down here. It'll go over the top of the sensor here, so that'll be red on the control panel. This one is still green, so I know I can run another loco into this section, change that isolation switch there, and that one, the sensor here, will turn an LED red. So that will give me an indication of what lines are occupied inside the shed without actually having to lift it up and have a look. I don't know what's in there, of course, but I know something is in there. So that's the plan for that area. So that's coming on. I've got a bunch of these LEDs as well. So these arrived in the week, and these are to go inside buildings. They're a bit bright in the minute, so I'm just playing around with which resistor turns that down to an acceptable level. I've gone for yellow ones rather than pure white, so that it gives like an old-fashioned light rather than a bright white light. I've removed the buildings and bits and pieces around here, so I can essentially turn this into a work area. I've got to repaint this road, but never mind, it doesn't matter. The lights have the really tiny LED lights, and there they are. That's them there, have turned up. So there's one there, you can just see it's absolutely tiny. Let's try if I can zoom in on that one for you. So there's my finger for comparison. They're absolutely tiny, and they are for the canopies. So let's just zoom out a bit. So they're for the canopies. So as you can see, I've been working on the main station area. This wall, I've changed this end wall. That was blue brick wall that went along all at the same level, so I've changed that, replaced that wall with a section that goes around the top of the canopy. So I cut one of these canopy kits in half, so I assembled it in half essentially, to produce a half canopy there. And I've done the canopies down there. So there's the other section of walling, and the long tail that went off the end there is gone. It just finishes at the end of the platform. And I've popped one of the signals in, so I'm one signal short to signal that the platform's up, but I'm going to go and try and find another one. They're the Burco platform signals. So I think that looks pretty smart actually, with the canopies. So there's the signals that go down that end, so they'll go on the platforms themselves. And the bridge is in place. So on order I've got the platform lights, so there'll be one there and one there, the double lights, perhaps one there and one there, and a single light just here, maybe a single light just here, a couple more doubles here and here, and then a couple of doubles there and a single just there. So they should be here at some point, maybe this week or maybe next week. An eBay purchase from China, so goodness knows where they are at the minute, probably in the middle of the ocean somewhere. But I'm quite pleased with how that station's come out. Now those really tiny LEDs are going to go in the canopies. So if I just lift one of these up and just spin it over. So what I'm going to do is try and put a small LED there in the middle and run the cables down each leg on the inside, paint the cables black so they look like guttering or downpipe. So then it gives a nice downward light in each canopy. So I'm going to put one there and one there. I'm not going to light the single canopies because there's going to be lights here. I'm going to try and put one there and one there in the single canopies. Again, they're not going to get lit. And then one there, so there and there. And then down here, one there and one there and one there and one there, and then a couple in there. Then the larger LEDs will go into the buildings to light those up. So that's going to be extremely fiddly, I think, but well worth the effort. These canopy kits are really cool. They're really fiddly to build, but they look pretty damn good on the platforms. So if I just show you that way. I need to finish the ballast off in there too. Everything's been moved around so I've created little workspaces basically. Let's have a look over here. I've put an extra couple of sections of walling here just to carry that on a bit. I've got some plain walling to go to finish that area off down there, just to enclose that a little bit. I've painted the top black. That's and popped a little bit of track in, so that's in down that end. It needs gluing down and ballasting in, but that's the general idea. So there'll be another track next to it, ending at a buffer stop down here somewhere, as the head shunt from the top section that comes around. I need to fill that bit in too. Just moving down a bit. And lastly, I've added a little bit of detail to these buildings. I've just put some posters up on the wall, nothing major. But I think that finishes those buildings off a little bit better, gives a bit more detail to them. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. It doesn't look like a lot, but there's been a lot of cutting and stripping and preparing wire and soldering LEDs together again, my favourite. I've got some double-sided 3M tape here. That's for these, so these go under the board or on a table I've made. There's the table, I'll just pop that together, which is going to go under here and have a controller on it. So these will go on the back of that with a CDU, that kind of stuff, so that all the electrics for this section here will be contained in one sort of one area. Then all the cables run back to it. I've taken the control panel off for now while I'm working under the board with cabling, that kind of stuff. So next, the buildings will come off again, so I can paint the black paint down there. I've got to still put that in, but now I'm getting sort of dangerously close to needing that in place now. Then I can put the cinders on the top, put the LEDs in. So I've got a whole bunch of these LEDs. Let's just show you those. There they all are. So they come on a strip. Try and move that somewhere where it won't damage anything. So they come on a strip like this, and you just snap them off to whatever you need, which is pretty neat. I've got to repair that signal. I managed to pull the resistor off, so that needs resoldering. And then that signal can go in. That's too big to go into the station, but now I'll find somewhere for it. So that's pretty much it there for the time being. There's Chris's shed on the inside, so that's got LEDs ready to roll. They just need a bit of tidying up with the wiring. I need the wires to go slightly differently to the way Chris had them, but that's fine. I'm doing that, and then yeah, I'll carry on going. I'll just give you one more shot of the station. So that's it from me for the time being. I'm just going to carry on soldering and putting lights in. Bye for now.